If you ever take the last city bus home at night, pay attention to how many people are on board, and more importantly, how many people get off. 3 winters ago, my co-worker Mark Alvarez used to take the same bus home every night in Portland. Route 19, last departure, 11:55 p.m. Most nights the bus was nearly empty, just Mark, the driver, and maybe 1 or 2 other passengers scattered across the seats. But after a while, Mark started noticing something strange. Every night, there was always 1 extra passenger. Someone sitting in the back, completely still, head lowered, never getting off. And the worst part is, the bus company later confirmed something that made the whole thing impossible. According to their records, that passenger had never boarded the bus at all. Mark and I worked the late shift at a small print shop near downtown. Our shift ended at 11:40 p.m. Most nights we walked 2 blocks to the bus stop together. Cold air, empty streets, occasionally a car passing through an intersection. Portland gets quiet late at night in the winter, especially in industrial areas. Mark lived about 20 minutes away by bus. I drove, so we usually split up at the stop. Route 19 always arrived at 11:55 p.m. sharp. Same bus, same driver. His name was Carl Benson. Older guy, grey mustache, friendly but quiet. The first time Mark mentioned the passenger was about 2 weeks into December. We were eating lunch in the break room when he said, "You ever notice someone sitting in the very back of the bus?" I shrug. Probably someone riding the whole route. Mark shook his head slowly. "No, he's always there." Mark described the passenger like this: dark jacket, hands resting in his lap, head slightly tilted forward, like he was asleep. But Mark said he never saw the man move, not once. Every night Mark would sit somewhere in the middle of the bus. Sometimes he'd glance toward the back. The passenger would be there, same seat, same position. And every night when the bus reached Mark's stop, the man was still sitting there. "Maybe he gets off after you," I said. Mark shook his head. "That's the last stop before the depot. He should be getting off before me." One night Mark decided to check. Instead of getting off at his usual stop, he stayed on the bus, just to see when the passenger would leave. The bus rolled through the quiet streets. Stop after stop, the city lights got thinner. Neighborhood houses replaced storefronts. Finally the bus reached the end of the route. Carl pulled into the turnaround loop, opened the doors. "Last stop," he said. Mark stood up, turned toward the back of the bus. The seat was empty, the passenger was gone, but Mark swore he never saw him stand up, never saw him walk past, never heard footsteps. After that, Mark started paying closer attention. Every night, same passenger, same seat, same stillness. But something else started bothering him, the reflection. One night the bus passed under a bright street lamp. The window glass lit up for a second. Mark saw the reflection of every passenger, except the one in the back. He turned around immediately. The man was still there, but the window beside him reflected only the empty seat. A week later, Mark finally asked the driver. "Carl," he said, "do you know the guy who rides every night?" Carl looked confused. "What guy?" "The one in the back." Carl glanced into the mirror above the windshield, the mirror that shows the entire bus interior. Then Carl frowned. "There's nobody back there." Mark laughed nervously. "Yes, there is." Carl slowed the bus slightly, looked again in the mirror. Then he said something quietly. "I don't see anyone." Mark turned around. The passenger was sitting there, same position, same seat, looking down. Mark faced forward again. "Carl." "He's right there." The driver didn't respond. The bus became very quiet. Just the sound of the engine and tires on wet pavement. After a long moment, Carl spoke again. His voice sounded tense. "Kid, there's only 2 people on this bus, you and me." Mark didn't take the bus the next night, or the night after, but eventually his car broke down and he had no choice. He called me that evening. "Listen," he said, "if I text you later tonight, answer. Even if it's late, around 12:17 a.m., my phone buzzed. It was Mark, a photo, taken from the middle of the bus aisle. The picture showed the empty bus interior, rows of seats, fluorescent ceiling lights. But in the very last seat, there was a man sitting there. Head lowered, hands folded. Mark sent one more message. He just moved. Mark didn't show up to work the next day, or the day after. The bus company reviewed the security footage from that night. According to their report, Mark boarded the bus at 11:55 p.m. He sat in the middle row, and for the entire ride, he appeared to be talking to someone behind him. But the video showed something else. Every time Mark turned toward the back of the bus, the rear seats were empty, except once, at 12:16 a.m., just one frame. A blurred figure sitting behind him. The company assumed it was a camera glitch, but Carl the driver quit 2 days later, before he left. He told the dispatcher something strange. He said the rearview mirror had captured something the cameras didn't during the last few minutes of the route. The mirror showed two passengers sitting in the back seat. One of them was Mark, and the other one was someone who had been there since the beginning of the route. Sometimes I still drive past the Route 19 stop late at night, and once in a while, I see the last bus pull up, the doors open. One passenger steps off, and for just a moment, before the bus pulls away, I can see someone sitting alone in the back seat. Head lowered, hands resting in his lap, like he's waiting for the next person who decides to stay on the bus a little longer than they should.